There we go. Okay. Who would like to begin? I've got, if you submitted a report with your website, I've got it loaded so we can put that up. So Lucy, you want to start since you're the newest addition to the website world?
Sure.
Okay, I'll just put the website up and then, okay. So I'm going to get that up there. So hold on a sec. Let me share the screen. Can't find the website. Hold on a minute. We'll get the technology working for us here in a second. Voila. There you go.
Oh, okay. Well, where to begin? The age group and the focus for this has been families, young families, and I've modeled the format of the site very closely to what the Vibrant Faith, sample sites and stuff are that seem to work, and with the playlists and things. We focused on 5 different areas. Wednesdays with the Word, which is our Christian education that happens on Wednesday nights already. And then milestones, our Sunday worship, which actually is inclusive of some other worship opportunities too. And then things focused on parents and faith at home. Some of the needs that came out of like the different areas, the priorities that we saw. Some of them had a lot to do with things like, for parents, just about parenting and how to manage, all those big things that parents are thinking about faithfully, but also just in terms of day-to-day life, like finances and juggling time and navigating the secular world and secular friendships, also not having as much support systems around. So some of the things that are on the playlist don't exactly exist yet, but they're ideas, that we'll be working to.
Yeah.
The Love and Logic thing, that's an actual, like a parenting course that was offered at one of the other local elementary schools here. And one of my members is the new principal at the elementary school in the town where we are. So that probably will happen. I don't have the exact dates. And time, but that sort of was a neat thing. That is a more in-person thing. And then if you go to up at the top there, the page for the Just for Parents, there's some things that elaborate. I tried to, there's a lot of curating, I guess, that's been done already in terms of the resources that are available on here. Some things to the Love and Logic, and then some of them I pulled right from the curation page. I hope that's okay.
Oh, that's what it's there for. Absolutely.
Okay. That's what I hoped. And then some other things that I knew of from different places. I'm hoping to have, where you just scrolled by, a time of some meals to spend. That was sort of one of the ideas that seemed like it would work in our context too, to focus it on some of those topics of time management and forgiveness, and talking about generosity and stewardship as families, but to have the in-person thing, but then to try to involve the web with it too. And then scrolling down further, there's some resources just helping parents in their faith formation. And then one of the things that really got lifted up in conversation was that the shape thing plugs into is, some of our younger families, the adults said that, they didn't really know exactly how to really plug into the church, and something in the case of one person in particular, like she was invited to be part of things more, and since then she has totally blossomed into, all these different ways that she's been really involved in the congregation now, that all stemmed from kind of somebody saying, you know, we think you have a gift here. Would you be willing to use it in this context? And so, so when she highlighted how much that was meaningful for her and it resonated with others too, it seemed like a good, and I found that resource via it's the Youth Ministry Network, the ELCA Youth Ministry Network. They have
Yep.
resources you can subscribe to. So that was something that was on there, and it was a really neat thing. And then the Seeds of Hope thing is happening. It's starting up this fall. I'm looking at all these different, kind of like big questions, and it's opening up a lot of different things about forgiveness and science and relationships. And it really plugs into some of the needs that came up anyway, and it already was kind of happening. So it was a neat thing to plug in. And I was looking at the January, the winterish time frame, just to be able to have a little bit of time to have some of these newer things, have time to kind of get them off the ground a little bit too.
I love the way you've curated community programs, online programs, and the way you've blended those. So it's curating the people, organizations, as well as the online resources. It's really great.
Hey.
And it's also great to stumble on something that's just what you're looking for. Great.
So,
I mean, I would say this is a good start, but it's also a good middle point too. I mean, this is terrific. That's great.
I had, I don't know, John, we had taken my husband and I were assigned to the New Jersey Synod before coming here, and you had come and shared at a retreat there.
Oh, sure.
Yeah, we were, so at that point I had started to try to build something in our former call. So I was a little bit familiar with Weebly, and so, it wasn't totally a new format to try to work with, but this is totally new and different,
Yeah. Well, questions for Lucy? I mean, that's more than a good start. That's really out there. And the nice thing about curation, by the way, is people curate so you'll use their stuff. And people publish things on the web so you'll connect to their stuff. I mean, so that's why people do it.
I actually have a question.
Sure.
I'm wondering if you will be able to put all of our different sites up so that we can share with one another.
Yeah, I was asking that to Lee.
In.
Yeah, so I'll put a list of all the URLs up.
That'd be great.
Go get that. Yeah.
I think it looks really nicely.
Thank you.
Yeah. Great.
Lucy.
Great.
I wanted to say bravo, Lucy.
Oh, thanks.
That's really good.
Lucy, the other piece is if you schedule like your pilot testing in January, that season, this gives you time in the fall to kind of work it out and get some feedback. Even have a little group give you a little feedback on the design and stuff. So it really sets you up for a great test case. And it's still a good time of year, that January to May season. You still have people's attention. Come May 1st, life changes. So it's why the seasonal thing kind of works. You kind of adapt to these seasons. Great. Thank you.
Yeah.
Who else would like to go?
I'll go next if you would like.
Yep.
Sue. And I'm going to...
Sorry, my dog is barking in the background.
That's okay. Sue, remind me which one.
So it is FCC, the First Congregational Church, FCC Madison, Faith
Yep.
Formation, Weebly.
How's that?
I don't see it.
Oh, I have to share the screen. Hold on. I'll be back.
So while you're starting to do that,
I can see it. You just can't see it.
you can see it? Okay.
Hold on. How's that?
There it is.
Okay.
So that first picture is actually the only picture that is true to our church at this point. The rest are just stock photos from Weebly, and I'd like to change that out as time goes on. But the main purpose of this really is to extend Sunday's worship and faith formation into the week for children, preteens, teens, and parents. And the reason why I divided them up as into preteens and teens is that they're different developmentally, and I wanted to differentiate from the title just youth. And really, it's just to give everyone tools to help strengthen their own, faith formation, whether it's through fun activities that kids might be able to do or parents might be able to do in order to strengthen faith, within the family, in the home, or, while they're traveling from event to whatever it may be. And also tie to events that are already happening at the church, as an invitation really for our participation. I did, as we were talking, go onto my phone, and I realized that the way I did this is not mobile friendly. What I do get is along the bottom there, John, you see worship, children, teens, and parents. I do get that little intro, but then you can't actually go to the top and pull down the menus that I have there. Like if you were to look at worship up on top, we have like worship for children. If you don't mind clicking on that, John, you would see an intro for kids, ways to learn more about worship. And I can't remember what that said, and it's being blocked, so I can't see.
Oh, I'm sorry.
More about worship in the Bible for kids. And then just here's some fun ways to learn more about worship topics from this week. Click here to watch the children's moment, here for related activities, here for coloring sheets, and I'll see you on next Sunday. So maybe like the here's will be actually linked to the content behind it, and maybe that's how it will serve, on a mobile device. It's just that we need to be able to access these top bars in some way. So I guess that's where I would use a scroll list.
Yes.
To get through. Okay.
Yeah. You can turn all of these into buttons.
Okay.
And
they actually are buttons. If you click on them right now.
It'll take you places. Okay.
Yep. So this is the little intro page.
Right.
And then from there, you would go up to the top, whether you want to see more about worship or things for children, which would be, Sunday school links, preteens, teens, parents. Actually, under parents, I have a section called Share Your Milestones. I now know that I would link that to Facebook, and that would be a place for parents to share, a birthday picture. You got a new pet, we've aced a test, we've had a great vacation, just a way to build community, within our church. And
see, one thing you could do with that, if ends up on Facebook, you can capture those photos, and on Weebly, you could do a gallery or a slideshow.
Okay, so there is a way to bring it back.
Yeah, so you can bring it back from Facebook. You just can't start. Unfortunately, you can't start on Weebly. You have to go to Facebook, and then you can take the pictures back and create a gallery or a slideshow on this page, which could be fun.
Okay, and then under the other categories, children, preteens, teens, and parents, there are links to all the different things that are going on from, say, late October through January 1st, in that it goes actually from Halloween through to Christmas. But because my church has been in a little bit of flux this summer, and that our new settle pastor has come in and started and taken some vacation time, and a lot of our congregation just kind of scatters for the summer. So I have listening sessions set up with parents of Sunday school kids, our teacher group for Sunday school, and then the different youth groups to basically, because I've been in this job for 5 years, I feel like I know what I would like to show everyone and invite them to participate in, but I might not have it exactly right. So I want to hear what they would need, introduce the idea of a faith formation website and a connection to the church throughout the week, but also hear, how they would like to use it, and probably show them, this, and see how we can, how we can further customize it, and then roll it out probably mid-October or so.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's the way you're describing it is a perfect example of what I call product testing.
Okay.
It's a focus group that has people commenting and talking about their needs when they see something, as
Okay.
opposed to a focus group that's open-ended questions. This is a focus group around, what do you think about this? What do you like that's there? What's missing? What would you add? That kind of thing. That's still a focus group. So
Okay.
it'll generate needs, and I think it'll be very helpful to you.
I think it will too.
And then even like, let's say I'm just highlighting preteens. If you've got all that content populated, for example, and you say, well, I'm not going to be able to launch until maybe Advent, November.
Right.
That's fine. Just save all these pages, because all these will be back next fall. So when people talk about their websites, I often say, don't ever delete a page, simply archive it, which means basically you hide it. And then as you develop the next season, you can use the categories like youth group, but you'll change some of the specifics underneath that. When you do worship, well, these categories won't change, but what you find there will be appropriate to the season of the year. So the nice thing about the digital piece is you don't ever lose that content. You simply archive it, and you can always bring that page back again next fall. So nothing's ever wasted on a website.
And then the only thing that's a little bit different, like worship is the same for all, I'd say 4 different groups, in that it focuses on what's going on Sunday.
Right.
And then taking that theme throughout the week. But then for parents, I do include, the way Lucy did, some parenting resources, ways for them to deepen their own faith, which would be, so basically click here for links to Christian parenting resources on various topics, partake in a topic talk from your home computer. I would need to find someone to run something like that, or join our fall book group.
Yep.
So I just wanted to actually put out to our group that I am looking for books that you all have used before in your congregations and found helpful for parents and families, because I would love to do that. I would love to roll that out. I'm just kind of not sure what to work with and what to go with right away.
Yeah.
And then, so that's basically the area where parents would go for their own, spiritual growth and development, in addition to assisting their children and growing their family unity through different faith-based activities.
Great.
And I think that's really it at the moment. I would like to take our own pictures and put them, behind each section. I don't know if you think it's distracting or not to have a different picture behind each page. I was hoping to do that just to make them seem unique and let people know where they are, or if I should, like, all teen pictures should be the same and all preteen pictures should be the same, so that it differentiates by category.
I think you can actually do both. I think you can have things that are youthy pictures, but it's youth worship or youth Bible study. Like you can blend the two. So even if the big picture on top was youth, maybe your photos that kind of navigate through content are generic.
Okay. And I was thinking of just using a camera over the next, couple of months and taking specific pictures that would fit each area, because I think it would be appealing to our children and youth to actually see themselves on that site and feel like, they have some ownership with it.
If you've got some people who love taking photos, just commission them as photo ministers.
Yes.
Because if that was up to me, you'd get 3 photos in the next 3 months.
That's me too.
But other people that's what they do. They love photos. They love Instagram and just set them loose. And you could even you could just tell them, just put all the photos in our Instagram account. And then you could pull the photos out that you want, that kind of thing, or Flickr or whatever. Yeah. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Take one thing off your to-do list. Don't take photos. Give it to these people. Just do it as part of their everyday life, and you'll get pictures of the community and at worship, at school, that's what you really want. And then people go to the website and say, that's us. This is our community.
Right.
Great.
Thank you.
Well done. Who'd like to go next?
I can go next. Emmanuel families.
Okay, I'm going to screen share and I'm going to get there. And Okay, and you can all see that, and my toolbar's in the way here.
There you go.
There we go.
There isn't much content behind this, but what I'm trying to do with this is built around the idea of equipping young families and helping them grow in their faith. And we have a special circumstance right now where we have a group of second graders that families are very involved, and I sort of want to use them as a target group to build off of. And one of my plans is to work with them in terms of what content they want. And I don't know what experience you folks have had, but this is a group that not only are the children very involved, but the parents are very involved. And then we have another group that the children are dropped off at Sunday school and the parents aren't involved. So that would be a second group to branch out to. And then a third group would be those people who are on our rosters and roles, but aren't involved at all. So what I'd like to do is interview those groups, work with those groups to get an idea of what they want around content. And I'm looking at this website as an opportunity, not necessarily to do as much description of what we have going on, but more about content to, as you can see, grow as a family, grow as a parent, grow in faith, and then we're a ELCA congregation, so how to grow as a Lutheran. So to build in that educational piece and that informational piece in each of those categories, more that it won't exclude information about what's going on, but we have a pretty good informational website, so it's more about the background in those educational pieces. So that's, I don't know, sort of in a nutshell. I don't know if you have questions, John. Or...
Yeah, no, that's great. I think I love the fact you'll have 3 different audiences that you'll kind of interview, and that the website will reflect that kind of diversity. So as people go through, it'll be clear, here's some in-depth things for a certain group, but here's some content for everybody, and here's some welcoming, invitational content. Yeah.
There's actually a 4th group I'd like to get to, and those are the people that aren't involved in the church at all.
Yeah.
I'm not sure exactly how to do that, so I'm thinking about this being sort of a layered kind of approach, with maybe working with the group that's going to be easiest to work with and learn from that, and use some of those learnings to go to the second group that is where the kids are involved but the parents aren't as much, and then go to the third group, and then finally somehow work toward building out into the community. So that's the thought, is to layer this and build out from there.
I think that's good strategic thinking. You know, it's kind of a concentric circles. The easiest group to program for are the ones that you're most connected with, and then the group that is somewhat connected, and the group is I'd like to be connected, and the group that doesn't want to be connected. You know, and it's going to be a little different. So what's going to happen, I think, is that the menu system, the style, and the rest, you're going to have different things that appeal to different people, but you got a platform to grow with. I mean, if you took this over the course of a year and you just kept on building it out, season by season, that's the approach I would take. It's so hard to tell people, just build this, you know, and don't worry about how much or the timeline. Just keep building this in response to people, because this is a perfect build, respond, build kind of thing, so that you can be in touch with people throughout the whole process. So I think it's a good strategy.
The other thing that came out as I was working through this is we have a lot going on as a congregation that involves what I would call like expert delivering content. So people coming to church and hearing, you know, going to a Bible study where a certain person leads, or Sunday school. So the real challenge, and where I need to grow content and work with content, is the different digitally enabled aspects. And so that'll be another thing that'll be working on, is, you know, over time, as to how to get more of those connections instead of this sort of traditional model.
Yeah. And if your team begins to reflect those different audiences, so some parents in each of the categories, that can help you over time build that out. That's great. Other feedback, other ideas? I like all the people who are picking family, by the way. That's just a personal aside. So,
Well, personally, in my experience, I've done youth and family ministry for the last 7-8 years, and everybody wants the kids to come, but the challenge is it's under the control of the parents. So it's how do we teach the parents, how we reach out to the parents so it becomes important enough to them that it's a priority or it has a significant role in their life. So that's sort of where I landed on this.
yeah, that's great. That's great. Who wants to go next?
Hey, John, before
Yeah.
somebody else pipes in, take a look at the chat. There was a question around should I focus on just one audience group, or notice that
Yes.
at least Lucy and Sue kind of mapped it out for everybody. Your thoughts?
I think it's entirely up to you. So I'll use David's example. So he's landed on family. Obviously, we'll have a whole course on family. But the next course will be family and intergenerational. And then the next course will be family. So that's easy. The next course will be family and life cycle. So growth across the life cycle through the lens of the family. And then the next course will be family and missional. So every one of those courses, you just keep on building it out, okay? So if I'm taking, so that's one example. If I'm taking a life cycle, children, youth, adults, the next course, how do I connect them intergenerationally? Like Sue's example, she's connecting them to worship. You already started down that road. In the course on family, how do I connect each of them to family? Some people have like parent content as well as whole family content. By the time we get to the life cycle course, it's how do I weave across the lifespan so things integrate. So, and then the missional course, how do I reach out to families we don't have involved, teens we don't have involved, adults we don't have involved. So, in a sense, no matter where you start, age group, multiple age groups, family, you're going to connect to the broader ecosystem. And we'll keep on guiding you through that. So you can't start wrong is probably the best way I would say.
Can I also add, I'm sorry.
No, go, Sue.
Can I also add that the reason why I went from children all the way through to parents, to include families, was because that's who I serve, children, youth, and their parents. So for me, I wanted to create something that we could then hook up and make go live as soon as I have the appropriate content for my own, ministry setting. So that's why it might be a little bit more comprehensive than other projects might be at the moment.
But it reflects your work.
Right. And I wanted to make it something that was usable right away, not just sort of a case study.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thanks.
That's great.
John, I'll go next while I've got my tablet up.
Good.
That's okay. I don't have mine done. My workload doubled at the end of July, and I just have not been able to do it. But I think I have a good start, and I did build do a survey from a few parents, and I'm going to continue doing that with some of the school parents to get the feedback that I want. And I was a little surprised by some of my feedback because I found that people were not using maybe their online, at least my religious ed students, as I thought they would be. And they were interested. I gave them several different topics. Would you like to see, or what do you think you would use it for? And the number one was parenting your faith. But the second one was the history of the church and what the church teaches as a Catholic church. And that really surprised me that they would use it more for that than like the Bible study and the meditations and stuff. So it definitely added some different content areas than what I had intended to actually put on there. And then I also, on that same evaluation, I asked them, like, what's your greatest challenge? What's your family's greatest need? And a lot of that was finding quality time together, praying more as a family. So that will help me to get the kinds of things maybe that will help them disconnect and do something together as a family.
Yeah.
And another part of the survey was, what are you using the internet for now? And a lot of them were using it for connecting with others. And so that will help me do like that interactive Bible study that you said would have to go on like Facebook or something.
Yep.
So that they would connect with each other, since that was kind of a high priority for a lot of them, and not just have it stagnant that you look at this or if you look at this website, you're only working with yourself. So that were some of the things I gleaned. I ended up with, I think what my network is going to be with, it's obviously families, and then my content areas are going to be learning the faith, reading the Bible, praying and growing spiritually, church history, building strong families, and parenting your faith. And got some ideas of things to put within those. I did get started and went on Weebly, and I'm not having as easy of a time as it seems like maybe some other people were. And I don't know, I just haven't had as much luck with it. And the last time I tried, I just kind of got frustrated. So I gave up at the time and said, I'll come back to it. So that's where I'm at right now.
Don't be afraid to bring a technical assistant on board.
I actually had one, and he, our communications director, and he was not having, he's like, well, try this. That didn't work. And, we weren't able to maneuver it the way we thought we would. And we certainly didn't have it looking anything like those ones that you've already shown.
Okay.
So
let's just schedule a time to talk.
Okay.
And we'll just do a little walkthrough, and you could show me where you are, and I could point out some stuff.
Okay.
Yeah.
That'll work fine with me.
Sounds good.
Okay.
And then when in doubt, we'll get a third grader. When in doubt, we'll get a third grader to join us in the process.
Amen. If my daughter was here, I'd have her helping me, but she's in Georgia,
Yeah.
so.
Let's just exchange an email, and we'll set up a time.
Okay, great. Thank you.
You're welcome.
I'm gonna get off the tablet.
Okay. Who'd like to go next?
I would. John Breen.
Bree. Okay.
Can I try to share my screen? I'd like to
Yes.
try this technology, if that's all right.
You want to share it?
Yes.
Go ahead.
Can I try?
Yeah. There it is.
Right there. I just like trying the new technology when I have the opportunity.
Well done.
So my faith formation network is feedmyfaith.weebly.com/parents. It's that because I already had the Feed My Faith website going with other things. So you can look at that at any time. The front page is stuff that I'm currently producing for my parish. Then there's a page about things that I've curated for the Tri-Saints worship page, the Taking Worship Home. And then there's also one for a group that I have called Women in the Middle. So they'd asked me to have their assignments for the times when they can't be there. So since I already had that going, I just added this as kind of a subgroup to the Feed My Faith platform. The 4 content areas that I am working with are for parents. So it's not families it's actually parents very specifically. And as I was looking at our research that we've been reading, and then also talking with my parents, and just kind of what I've learned about my parents over the last 4 years, is these are the 4 content areas that they are interested in, that they need. So number 1 is learning to worship with children. Number 2 is practicing your faith as a family. 3 is feeding your faith as a parent. And then the 4th is the positive parenting resources. Like the rest of you, I haven't been able to actually do focus groups or anything like that over the summer. Plus, my parents are a really slippery group, so they're really hard to get in contact. They're really hard to get to church. So I'm going to have to be working on that as we go. But as I've been working on these things, and now as fall programming is beginning, it's been kind of neat because the things I was assuming they needed is actually what they've started asking me for. So this work is not going to be in vain, I think. The other thing big thing with my parents is time commitment. So that was one thing I wanted to keep really central to what I was going to do with my website. So under all 4 of these content areas, I have 4 levels of engagement. So the top one is a weekly tip, idea, quote, or question. And that is literally like 2 lines. So that's something that I would post to Facebook or Twitter, but would also live on my website and change every week. There's a watch and learn, which is a YouTube video of no more than 15 minutes, probably more like 5 usually. Going deeper is kind of the links, where if you wanted to read more or learn more, that's where you would find content that would take you longer than 8 minutes to engage in. And then gather together is the opportunities for us to actually get together face-to-face or as a community online, or even just to begin some programming together. So that's what that is about. And then here's my network. So at the top, you see it's just the Parent Learning Network. And then I have my 4 content areas.
That didn't load.
It didn't load. It's still loading, it looks like. On mine, it's still loading. If you want to share your screen instead, we could do that if yours is loaded.
Yeah, I've got it.
Let's do that. I'll put my stop share. And will you share, please?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
I like those 4 levels, by the way.
Thank you.
Yeah,
that's got a lot of traction.
Thank you.
So let me see if I can find you.
I think what you had to do is kind of move out of presentation mode of your PowerPoint, and then we would.
Gotcha. I just wanted to learn. I'm always curious about this technology, so
yeah, I could tell.
Try it at least. So here's the top. On a desktop, I don't think it looks as exciting as I would love it to, but I am very cognizant that my parents are only going to be looking at this on their phones or their iPads. There is nobody sitting at a desk looking at a parent website, at least in my context. So I originally had it all designed so it looked like windows and all this beautiful stuff. And what I opted for was a longer website that just had, it was easy to scroll through. If you look at the top, John, where where it says welcome to Tri-Saints, yep, right there. Those actually are links within the website. So if you're on a desktop and you push Learning to Worship with Children, it'll forward you to that piece of the page. See? So on a desktop, I don't think it will be so difficult to scroll through.
I see. You're still on the same page. It's just taking us further down.
Yeah,
that makes sense.
I got a husband who's good at HTML, so he helped me learn how to do that.
Yeah, because for those who use Weebly, this you have to program to do it. It's not built in.
Right. Yep. So if you will go up closer to up farther to the top, the first thing is the Learning to Worship with Children. So you get a picture, a little tiny intro to what it's about. Then there's a tip of the week, which I actually got from a book off my shelf, for those of you books. But I also do, and then there's a watch and learn, which is a YouTube video. That happens to be me this week, particularly. And if you'd like to see the whole playlist, there's a link to it, so you can look at all of the watch and learns that have to do with worshiping with children. And then you go deeper, and there are articles. I actually developed a resource during this project, which is a print resource, but it's also available as a PDF right there where it says Pastor Breen's Guide to Worshiping with Children. And then the gather together for that particular piece is nominating a worship grandparent. I'm going to start teaching some grandparents who aren't sitting with kids to help our kids learn to worship, and then volunteer to sit with families so that parents have backup and have another older adult and intergenerational piece to it. Maybe more patience than I have, because I have a 6-year-old and 3-year-old twins. But the grandparents have more patience than I do and more grace. So I thought the gather together is going to be to nominate a worship grandparent. But you have to tell me who you are too, so I can come back and say, well, it sounded like maybe you'd like one. And I've got the information for both. The second part is practicing your faith as a family. So there is, again, an idea of the week. which comes from a book. There's the 5-minute family devotional, which we had both talked about this last time, from Jelly Telly. There's a link down below that you can look at the whole playlist. The Go Deeper involves a bunch of different family stuff. So Family God Time Weekly Devotion, I actually write those every week, which I've already been doing for my parish, so it's not new. Family Service Project Ideas from a place in Minnesota that's doing really good work helping out with service project ideas. The 5-minute devotions, the Bible app for kids, which my 6-year-old is addicted to. And then being able to purchase the book where all the tips came from. And then our gather together for this one is intergenerational service projects that we already have built into our work. And I thought the best way to do that actually is to have them give me their email and which event they're interested in, and then I'll get back to them by email of signing them up or giving them more information. So then you get to feeding your faith as a parent. I spent a lot of time and a lot of thought on this one because there aren't a lot of stuff available that I really like. And what I came down on is that for me as a curator, actually just, I know as a parent that if my personal faith is stronger, or if I'm actually working on it myself, I'm going to be a better parent. So this is actually like adult resources that I think people who are parent age will like. So you have a meme every week that clicks forward to a devotion from Lutheran Indian Ministries. You have a playlist of songs that are appropriate to the season. Right now we're doing Psalms. So it's a playlist that I curated on our Tri-Saints Parish YouTube site. The Go Deeper are several different kinds of devotion opportunities. One's weekly, one's daily, one's a book you buy, one's the 3-minute daily retreats with the music and the videos, and then a guide to praying in color, which is something our parish really likes. And then the Gather Together are people I know. My husband just became a certified spiritual director. So if you want to work on your faith, you schedule a session with him. And then I have a friend who does Christian yoga 45 minutes from here. So you can follow her on Facebook and find out when the classes are. Or you could email me to join a carpool, since it is 45 minutes from our place, to get us all going and trying it out. Then the last one's the Positive Parenting Resources. That one I got is a question of the week from a list that's available online of 100 questions to ask your kids. The Watch and Learn is a YouTube video of Kara Powell this particular month about sticky faith, but there's also a playlist of other things that I've curated. I only have 4 and I'd like 12 of those, so I'm still working on that. And then the Go Deeper are some encouraging things, because that was one of the things that we had talked about in the research of encouraging parents. So some encouraging things, the question list, and then the parenting skills from Parent Further, the Boys Town Parenting Help, and then the book, which is the Gather Together part, which would be an online Google Hangout book study, which will include time to actually read the chapter during that hour. So I thought that's another thing where my parents are always telling me they don't have enough time. Fine, come, we will pray together, then I'm going to give you 20 minutes to read the chapter, then we're going to talk about it. So that's that. So that's the whole thing. The 2 things that I wanted to say, because I know Leif had asked me to talk about this is actually going to disappear in a couple of weeks and will not be seen again for probably 2 years. The way that I'm going about VFU is that I myself need to go through the paradigm change and learn all of this stuff. And then in 2 years, I'm going to start, once I've got it all in my toolbox, then it will be time for me to start getting some of my leaders in, and then taking all the stuff that I'm learning and then actually working on the paradigm shift within the parish. So for me, that's kind of important that I need to go through the paradigm shift first. So it's not every shiny thing I'm trying to introduce and then it isn't as intentional as I'd like it to be. The other kind of neat thing was that resource that I developed, a guide to worshiping with children. I thought I was just going to shelve that for a few years. And then last Wednesday at confirmation class, the first confirmation class, the parents, when I asked them what they wanted from confirmation class, said, "We'd really like you to help us learn how to teach our children to worship." And so I wasn't expecting that, and I was really, really excited that something that I had already worked on that I was just going to hold off on for a little while was something that I'm actually going to start teaching tonight at confirmation class.
Don't worry about it, Phil. Just leave me alone. I'm listening.
So that's the two things that I was taking away from this particular project, and not that I'm going to never use it again, but that it's something I'm going to put into my toolbox for when we actually start the paradigm shift within the parish.
Well, I love the grandparent worship mentors.
I've already got some people signed up to do that. They're really excited about the idea.
Yeah.
So that's pretty cool.
The great untapped resource in our communities, the grandparent generation.
Yeah.
And they're there on Sunday.
Yes, they are. Every week.
Every week.
It's so amazing, Green. That is so beautifully done. It's just loaded with great information and direction for your congregation. So, bravo.
Thank you.
Yeah, and that template really works. Those 4 stages.
Yeah.
Yes.
When you see a program, that really works.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. I want everybody to take note of the systematic process that Breen uses in order to deliver the content.
Yeah.
And the process repeats itself over and over again, but it doesn't feel redundant. It feels like you're taking care of me. You've got it organized so it's predictable. I know where to find the going deeper piece, no matter what section I'm in, etc. So
familiarity is a good thing on a website because you get comfortable with it.
Yeah.
You know, so a familiar process or framework is helpful because when you go back, you don't want to spend time relearning it every time you go back because people don't spend time on websites.
Right.
You know, so that's great. Kudos. Who would like to go next?
Lucy. Thanks, Lucy. In the chat box.
Oh. You'll have a secret URL, Lucy, to be able to access it. Just special for our learning community. That'd be cool. Anybody else would like to share?
I can go next.
Warren? Okay.
Yeah. Do you have my website? I didn't see it in the tabs there, but if not, I can give it to you. So,
which one is it? Remind me.
First Lakeland Adults, so it's 1ST, First LKLD.
I got it. Hold on a sec. What did I do with it? I remember typing it in.
So while John's looking for that, it's been an interesting summer for us. We've had a lot of transition here as a United Methodist congregation. We, of course, our clergy are subject to appointment by the bishop, and we had 2 pastoral transitions. We have a staff of 3 pastors, and we had 2 pastoral transitions this summer, in addition to some other staff transitions. So it's been a summer of flux for us as we've been trying to cover responsibilities and preparing for fall kickoff, which starts tonight. So lots happening. So having seen the excellent project so far and Breen's work there, we may be going a bit from the sublime to the ridiculous here when we get that.
And Warren, give me the address because
sure. It's the number 1ST.
Okay, hold on a sec. So 1ST. I'm sorry, I got to type it right. 1ST.
And then LKLD.
LKLD.
Yeah, that's our hashtag is First Lakeland. Adults.weebly.com.
There we go.
The reason for the weird URL there is we actually had another website that we started after engaging adults that had a more user-friendly URL. So you'll notice that I really kind of stole the navigation from the Seasons of Adult Faith But I don't yet have the playlist on the homepage, but the plan is below that description there to put that there. I mentioned earlier the worship plus 3, so we're worship, invite, grow, and serve, and that's where I was originally trying to go with the navigation, and I may go back and rework that a little bit. But if you want to, we were focusing on middle adults, mostly because a lot of the folks that are on the faith formation team are either in middle age themselves or are parents of children who are in middle age. So that seemed like kind of a logical place for us to go. And I also have gotten some anecdotal feedback from other middle-aged adults in our congregation that they felt like we had a lot of stuff for young adults, so we had a lot of stuff that were retired, but the people in the middle felt like they were kind of left out. So that's kind of where we're going with this. So under adult living, we have a few things that are focused on middle adults. The connection was a big part of that, and we have talked for some time about doing supper clubs. And so the plan, we're looking at a season of January to April. Part of that was hypothetical and part of it was practical. But we're looking at launching those in February, so we start signups in January. There's a place to register. We started this past fall, so it's been going for almost a year now, a program called Family Link. It was originally called Parent Link and was really designed to be a parenting ministry. And then we discovered, well, we don't want it to be limited to parents because we recognize that there are other people who are in the roles of parents, and also that we wanted to really expand it to be an intergenerational ministry as well. So we have some events that are going to be targeted to those who are in parenting roles, whether that's as a biological parent, adoptive parent, foster parent, grandparent, any other caregiving role. So we're going to have an event in January on parenting adolescents and talking about that because that's an issue that a lot of middle adults are dealing with. Then we're going to have an intergenerational event prior to Ash Wednesday, where we're going to really equip parents with some resources available through Vibrant Faith and LEC Family and some other resources for how to really deepen your faith in the Lenten season as a family. And then I just came across this actually last week, this book, Life Reimagined. I don't know if any of you have heard of it, by Barbara Haggerty, but actually came across an article on sojo.net and was just fascinated by what she had to say there. And though it's not a specifically religious or spiritual book, and I haven't read it myself, I just read about it, but I was really fascinated by it and decided this would be a good thing for us to look to do in February as a book club to really talk about what does it mean for us to be finding purpose in midlife. So those are kind of the issues that we're looking at. We also, recognizing that it's the beginning of the new year and that often in midlife people are reevaluating where they are in terms of their life goals, in terms of their spiritual development, spiritual formation goals, purpose, those kinds of things. I felt that under spiritual life, if you want to head there, John, to the right, thank you, that the Ignatian practice of the examen would be something that we wanted to encourage people to do. And so there are a couple of buttons there with the written steps for the examen, which links to Alive Now, which is a publication of the Upper Room. It kind of gives through some written instructions on how to do the examen. Then if you go back to the website, because I wasn't able to embed the video for whatever reason, I think it's because of the way they have it actually uploaded to YouTube. There's a guided examen from an Ignatian or Jesuit resource there as well. And I wasn't able to just embed when I tried if you hit the share button there, it doesn't give you the embed code. It's just not, oh, you got it. Cool, well, I'll fix that.
The HTML, the share, there it is. Maybe you got to start the video.
Yeah. So I'll go back and embed that actually into the site itself because I think it's better if we can keep them there than have them go off. And there are a couple of other videos on our site that where that happens. And then you'll see, again, just put the information there. Actually, that's a holdover. I think I duplicated that page to put, so there will be some other things that will go on there as well. And I don't remember exactly what they are off the top of my head. But then under worship, under seasons, recognizing that this year, from January to April, of course, we're finishing up the Christmas cycle with the last part of Christmas and Epiphany, and then we got a long season of ordinary time before we head into Lent. But I wanted to kind of explain, I grew up very high church Anglican, and so the liturgical calendar is deeply important to me. And we are not, while we do recognize liturgical seasons in this congregation, we're not kind of in that liturgical rhythm as much. I mean, we celebrate, obviously, Advent and Christmas and Lent and Easter. But I wanted to maybe explain a little bit more to people and go a little bit more in depth. And so Chuck Knows Church, it's got a funny little video there on the 2 main cycles on liturgical calendar, what the colors mean. And so if you attend our traditional worship services, you do get to see the paraments and the various liturgical colors. So I thought that was a good way to introduce that. And then in our Methodist tradition, we have the watch night service that often happens on either New Year's Eve or New Year's Day. And looking to January, we're planning to do that service, and Sunday falls on or January 1st falls on a Sunday this year. To do that is kind of our first worship experience of the year. And then we're going to do a study based on that called One Faithful Promise. And then also talk about the sacrament of baptism of the Lord's Sunday. So we're going to have an intergenerational event for that on a Sunday evening when we'll have a reaffirmation of our baptismal vows and talk about the importance of baptism. And then you'll see some other events there for Lent and heading into Easter. Picture Lent, if you guys aren't familiar with that, I would encourage you to check that out, picturelent.com. It's from the Life Enrichment Center here in Florida. Anyway, it's a neat way to integrate feedback and social media because you're using the hashtag #PictureLent. And we invite people to use the hashtag First Lakeland as well. So it's just a great way to see how people are integrating Lenten practices into their daily lives. And then I've got to populate the rest of that there as well.
But I like the use of Latin. It just warms my heart.
Yeah, the Lorem Ipsum text that you got there for excellent. Let's see. And then under the worship tab, that was the other thing that I was going to we live stream all of our worship services. So there you see our 4 different worship services. I just have a link to the live stream. And then there's a link back to our regular webpage where you actually have the live stream embedded from one of the worship services. And then under Grow in Faith, this is where I was really struggling with how do we, discover faith is, we've got a few things there for missional faith formation. And then here in a Grow in Faith, that's what I mentioned, the Wesley Covenant service. So we got One Faithful Promise, which is an actual 6-week exploration of the Wesley Covenant prayer. And I put a graphic there, the Wesley Covenant prayer. That's my friend Magreta Vega there, who's talking a little bit about the book. And so we're going to offer that in small groups. We're also going to have personal reflection questions that will be available for download. And then I haven't quite figured out how to do this as an online course, but coachplay.com does offer the videos online as a streaming resource. So I put a button there to be able to do that. And then Disciples Path is one of our foundational courses that we offer 3 times a year, basically talking about what does it mean to be a disciple of Jesus in the United Methodist tradition. And so we talk about the disciplines of prayer, presence, gift, service, and witness over the course of 7 weeks. So another one of our foundational courses.
Just making my lunch and dinner so I can eat and get out of here. I had to buy and pick up my cord.
So
I'm supposed to be on a webinar until 4 o'clock. So
under Scripture, I
going home and now
borrowed a lot of that from the Curating Faith Formation.
Out because I want to get there earlier than later, and if I get stuck in traffic, I
And Warren, hold on a minute. Somebody's got their voice on.
I took hot dogs out for you.
Somebody's got their lunch hot dogs on the voice. Okay, go ahead, Warren. I'm sorry.
That's all right. So under Scripture, I pulled a lot of the resources there from, I can't remember which was one of John's websites. I don't remember if it was Curating Faith Formation or Seasons of Adults. But we have our pastors' Bible studies that they do each month. So there you see David and Melissa. For some reason, when I changed that button text should be a link to a WUFU registration form. I'm not sure why the button text says that. But then we offer Bible from scratch. Last year we did New Testament. This year we'll do Old Testament. Don Griggs, it's a great resource. That's a face-to-face kind of group. I haven't quite figured out. It can be used as independent study. I haven't quite figured out how to do an online component to that, so I'm still working with that. But then the tools for daily Bible reading, those are some of the resources that I pulled from John's website. And so we'll have this week's readings, which are tied to our, since we aren't a purely lectionary church, we may be in a sermon series or something, and we'll have whatever the gospel or the text is for that week, and then additional text that would be around that, kind of our own, I guess, lectionary, so to speak. Then the upper and daily devotional, and then YouVersion information there, the Gospels reading plan. So that's kind of where we are at this point, and still have some to flesh out there. Service I haven't quite finished, but we have several places that we're connected with, not only in terms of serving together as a family through a program called Kids Pack that we do once a month. We're also working on a reconciliation curriculum, recognizing that we are in a very polarized society. Certainly that's been highlighted by the national elections and issues in the news around racial reconciliation. So, in fact, tonight we're starting a study called Fear of the Other by Bishop Will Willimon. And then Roadmap to Reconciliation is a book by Brenda Salters McNeil. And we're looking at formulating a whole curriculum around what does it mean for us to be prayerful peacemakers and to be engaged in the work of reconciliation. And then Peace is the Polk Ecumenical Action Council for Empowerment. And that's we have several events throughout the year, from home meetings to identify what's happening in the community to a rally where we ask our local leaders to make the changes we feel are necessary for justice in our community. So that's what we have there.
Wow, that's really great. And that looks like a beautiful church.
Yeah, we just finished a $15 million construction project. So the buildings that are on either side of the sanctuary there are brand new. I'm in the one that was on the left, so that's where my office is.
Great. The variety of things around a targeted audience it's really amazing. The aggregate of stuff, both existing programming, community programming, as well as the digital things.
Yeah, I just want to echo that too, Warren. You've done a great job of really being focused on your audience, but given such a breadth of resources as well as channels through which to access them. That I think is what good curation is all about.
Yeah. And I know you might be concerned about like website design and layout, but that's where you get that continual feedback from people. So, you have a little test group that looks at it, that gives you some feedback. Then people use it and say, it'd be easier if you did this, and you adjust it. So that's very much a back and forth process. So even though you might have a whole season of programming up, you might tweak it throughout that season, not add more content, but rearrange things or make it smoother or that kind of thing. But the only way you learn that is by actually putting it out there and getting feedback, So I always say, make your very best effort, get feedback, and then continue improvement. So it's really continuous improvement that we're all going to be engaged in. So if you saw my first website, you would have just unimpressed completely. So you can be, a little impressed, but when you started, it was like, oh, what is this? So thank God you can delete them,
Right.
and they disappear. They really do disappear. I always tell people, don't press the delete button when it says your website, delete your website. Don't press that button. We probably got time for one more anyway. If there's one more person would like to share. These have been just great they're all different, and they're great illustrations of good network design and website design. I think they're really.
Well, I also hope that it makes everyone feel like whatever steps you've taken toward this networked process is fine. It's what we've been looking for. Nothing is ever finished. Some of what we're looking at today is more finished than others, and we're fully aware that all of you are somewhere on that continuum. And that's just fine.
Well, let's show them the other end of the continuum. It's Rosemary.
Rosemary, don't
I
set
know.
us up that way.
I'm not going to go anymore. I'm just going to say, but I had to relate to Warren when he said, I'm going to take you from the sublime to the ridiculous, because he didn't, but I might.
Do I have yours?
I'll go to it. Yes.
Do I have your website address?
Yes. Yeah, it's
This one.
it's the family faith,
Yeah.
wherever
Family
you
Faith.
are,
Yeah, got it.
something like that.
So let me just share the screen now that I've located it, and everybody should be able to see that.
There we are. So it's probably kind of a mixture of parenting and things addressed or directed toward the different age groups, but I'd love not to have that more at the end. This is where I started to have my my digital challenges with working with Weebly. But anyway, so I've got the pages, our family faith at home and the blessed beginnings, birth to preschool, the 5 to 11-year-old group, growing in faith, faith challenges, middle school, and then what else do I have? Worship and community, and then spiritual enrichment for parents. I'll do Bible basics, and then faith in action. Where I did, and we can start right here with family faith at home. One of the things I was able to do quite successfully was to put in pictures of from our own church. So most of the pictures on the website are from our congregation. And so if you just keep going down, John, you'll see that I've done some different things. This is so elementary, and I haven't figured out how to make the links and all of this, but at least I know I have some content here. So
well, it's here to be worked with, so that's the good thing.
Yes. And I will have to find someone who can help me work with it, and I will do that. But these are just things that exist for us now for the most part. Every once in a while there's something that's a plan of mine or an idea that I'm going to pursue. So birth to preschool is where I do talk about what we have in place for childcare, and our 3s and 4s church school class. And then I'll start doing more of the articles and links that will be directed toward parents in that age group. And then my 5 to 11-year-olds, do I have anything there? I've got, again, pictures, but I don't have any content there. But I do have, as you can see, the introductory comments that hopefully will engage parents to want to continue with it. Faith Challenges Middle School. Fortunately, as of tomorrow, we have a brand new associate pastor for children and youth. And so I'm going to be working with him on this one. But again, I've been able to find some resources for parents to begin to explore some of the things that they might be wanting to try and do with their middle school children. And I think the one that I probably have, well, worship and community is about our worship primarily. And then the intergenerational events that are planned, at least for the coming year. And then maybe if we go, John, to faith in action, because I don't have anything in Bible Basics yet. Faith in action are those things that we do currently in the community. And then there'll be more information on each of those topics. But as I said, just unfortunately for me, I do need the technical help, because I would spend so much time trying to figure out how to get what I wanted in the pages that it just got to be, it was just too challenging. So I had to put it aside a few days ago and say, to be continued. So,
Rosemary, what's there is kind of your architecture.
yes.
And so that you can start working the digital, the digital design piece, but you got the architecture of the content you want.
Mm-hmm.
Now it'll be connecting to that content or adding video, whatever, but you've got the basic, the architecture of what you want to do. Now it's a matter of just going the next step. So this is kind of step one.
Yep.
Step two is kind of the technical piece with the content. This is where you start.
Yeah, well, and thank you. And obviously, it's very helpful to see what some of the other colleagues have done, because it's, very inspiring. So I appreciate that opportunity.
Great.
So I'll keep going.
Yes. Don't stop.
I won't. Thank you.
I'll put all of these links, and we have some people who couldn't join us today that submitted things. I'll put those links online. And obviously I will read all of these and give you feedback, or view all of these and give you feedback. But if there's assistance you want past the end of the course, which is this week, just simply email me. People have been doing that. Just continue to do that and say, take a look at this. I'm looking for this resource. Just let me know. Because in the next cycle, I'll start the new cohort teaching this course as well. So I'll be on kind of message for the next cohort with this. So just feel free. And somebody asked, yes, could we get the URLs from the people in cohort 1? Yes. So we'll aggregate all that together. Leif and I were talking about a place to kind of land all of that. So we'll get that all put in one place so you'll be able to access that.
Yeah, we'll find a centralized location. But in the meantime, the place you want to go to find the video from today's session, and we'll park these URLs of your sites, is in the review and resources link under week 15. So we're in week 15. It says online live session number 3. Later today or tomorrow, I'll post all of that material under review and resources.
Leif, we'll bump it over to you for some announcements.
Yeah, let me, well, there's no need to share my screen for that. Couple of things. I said the review and resources, that's good. When you complete your second assignment and either John or I reviews it and then gives you your 100 points of credit in course sites, you either get 100 or you don't get anything. So but if you do the assignment, you're going to get 100. So what that should do is it should trigger the digital badge that you'll receive to show your accomplishment for this course. So if for some reason you get a message that indicates that we've graded your assignment, but you don't get some sort of acknowledgement around that digital badge, let me know, because I'm pretty sure it's automated. Looking ahead to the next trimester, the fall term, your course number 2 begins on September 12th, and yours truly will be your instructor for that course on intergenerational faith formation. And so you'll receive, again, kind of an automated email next week. Somewhere I've published the fact that you'll get it on September 7th, and that's what I'm shooting for. But from me to you, if it's the 8th or 9th, then it is that. But you'll get the email invite to join the course. So you're already a user of course sites, but you'll have to enroll in the particular course, and it'll be easy. It's just a matter of clicking into it. I just want to mention a couple of key dates, or the other key dates. So the course begins on September 12th, and the first online live learning session will be September 22nd. So if you want to put that on your calendar, 1 to 4 p.m. Eastern Time, September 22nd. I've scheduled our live learning sessions for Thursdays for purely selfish reasons, because it suits me in my parish work. And I fear, and I'm pretty sure it doesn't suit all of us, but and I'm open to conversation about a different time, but for now we're looking at Thursday, September 22nd, Thursday, November 3rd, and Thursday, December 15th for our live learning sessions. One last thing. This course that you're in, course number 1, it will remain available to you until about the 1st of November. And then it will go offline. But it won't disappear altogether. So, in fact, I had a message yesterday from someone in Cohort 1 who wanted some material that she journaled in course 1, but it had already gone offline. So I was able to put it online for a while so she can grab what she needed. So my point is, it doesn't disappear, but we can only keep a handful of courses live at any one time. And so this is a long way of saying you have access to all your stuff in this course until the 1st of November. After the 1st of November, if there's stuff you want, call me or email me, and I'll put it up for you for a brief period of time, take some other course offline, and then you can get that. Clear as mud. Any questions?
Did you say that the September 15th was something too, or did I mishear that?
I did not.
It starts the 12th, and then the 22nd is the online session, but
Right.
involving the 5th. Okay, I don't know.
Nothing special on the 15th.
Okay, sorry.
Taking the day off.
I think you said December 15th. Is that right?
Yes, I did. I said, yeah, December 15th is the third live session.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Rosemary.
That's it for me, John. Great. Well, congratulations, course 1. But I need to affirm the amount of work people did in building these out, and the work that you've started that you'll continue. But again, I want to just say again, each course from here on out, the next 4, you'll continue to add components to what you're building, whether it's intergenerational, family, life cycle, or missional. Obviously, the leadership course is what integrates all of this in terms of our role as now a 21st century leader. But the next 4 courses are all big content chunks of the ecosystem. So you kind of launched yourself into this, and now watch as you develop this and make connections, especially with the next course. So many of you adding intergenerational components, becoming intentional about whether it's worship, learning, service, mission. It's just going to grow and kind of deepen the networks you've begun. So that'll be fun. And if you can, think about how you might begin to schedule a pilot of this, maybe in the January season. So you test it out with people, and then try some small scale piloting, or introduce it and get a feedback phase come January, because many of you are close to doing kind of a real pilot of what you're doing, and that'll be invaluable to take a season and get that feedback. It's not good to start a pilot in the summer season. It's just not. It's okay when you've gone a year into it and you introduce the summer season. People say, well, of course, you're going to do something with us in the summer, aren't you? Yes. But to launch something in the summer is really, really hard. So if you can launch something modest, but something in January, that'll be really a positive thing. So congratulations. And I hope the instructor for course 2 takes good care of you.
Yeah, well, we'll see if they take good care of me.
I'm sure they will. I'm sure they will. Again, questions and concerns, just send us an email, no problem at all with help. And then if you need any one-on-one help and on design stuff, I'll set up a time with you and we can go into Zoom like this and just talk one-on-one, see stuff. So that's an open invitation as you go through the program. Don't wait for us to keep on saying it. It's just an open invitation. Take advantage of it so that we can do really well with you.
Well, and also take advantage of that before your anxiety level gets
Yeah.
too high.
Before you see a therapist, talk to us.
Yeah.
That's great. God's blessings on all of you. Thank you for being part of today. And I'll see you again in another course. Amen.
Thank you, John. Appreciate it very much.
You're welcome.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
God bless you all.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.